A new video was shared by US government where you can actually see a UFO that looks extremely similar to the biblical angels. This UAP or UFO actually looks very similar to what's known as one of the Ezekiel's wheel angel. Now, it's not just me. A lot of people seem to be believing this stuff because even Anna Luna, who's an American politician, just 46 minutes ago, she shared this image along with this UFO object that's flying around. And a lot of people are suspecting that this is indeed the biblical angel. Now, I remember a couple of years ago, there was someone that actually made a 3D model of what the biblical angels would actually look like if you look at them. And this is apparently how Ezekiel describes these biblical angels to look like. And obviously, they don't look very pretty. They look super scary. That's what the Bible also says, that these things are not supposed to look pretty. They're supposed to look super scary. And not all angels are going to look like humans with just 2 wings on. Those are the archangels that look like humans with 2 wings. And now comes the interesting stuff. There are different angels. The angel that we've been seeing with these UFO files being revealed, one of the angels is the seraphim and the other one is cherubim. And we've also seen something that's very similar to the thrones, because we've seen that Booga spear, which kind of looks very similar to the one angel called as the thrones. So this has basically led a lot of people to believe that the UFO disclosure is basically giving us all the information about these biblical angelic creatures rather than them being called as the technological aliens. Where it apparently seems like the same exact kind of a spaceship is also mentioned in the Sumerians' inscriptions. Because take a look at this image right over here. These are the Sumerian inscriptions, which basically shows a very similar kind of an image. So this is basically what that UFO looks like. And take a look and compare this with the Sumerian inscriptions, and you'll actually see that they have already engraved something very similar to this creature right here. And it seems like it possesses some sort of an energy, and there are these massive humans who are apparently the giants, is what I believe. And then there are normal humans. These are who we are, and these are like the Anunnakis, the massive giant humans, also known as the Nephilims. So apparently they had some sort of a control, and so apparently they had a lot of knowledge that we don't currently have. So apparently these all were basically their technology, is what a lot of people have been saying. This image was actually uploaded to Gemini, and Gemini was asked to upscale this image. And when it did it, it apparently gave us this thing right over here. And it looks very, very similar to what Ezekiel mentions in the Bible of what the angel actually looked like, with all of these wheels, one wheel over the other one. And as it moves, the wheel just keeps spinning. And as it moves in a particular direction, the wheel spins in that direction. So basically, that's what the Gemini AI also upscaled it as. There's also another image which was shared on the UFO disclosure website, which again, when upscaling it, we actually get another angelic-like being over here. And if you move further, you've got all of these inscriptions of the Sumerians, which basically reveals that these things were actually part of the ancient cultures, and these things did exist back in those times. And look at these engravings that kind of just looks like a star spaceship, which is very similar to what we've seen again. And we also have like a rice-shaped spaceship or UFO, something that's flying around. And if you guys have taken a look at what the government has shared so far, you'll also see that they've even shared some footage that actually looks very similar to the rice-shaped UFOs. And one good clip of those are right over here, as you guys can see. It looks very similar to what we have seen with the Sumerians inscriptions. And also, this was captured using the infrared mode on a camera. So as the choppers were flying across, they actually spotted this thing. This looks completely metallic, and it just goes super fast. So when they recorded this thing flying, it apparently was radiating some sort of a pulse kind of energy. I don't know why it's doing that. Probably it's emitting some sort of a jammer that could disable the choppers or anything that's flying around it. But yeah, this is basically what it looks like. It can maneuver any direction it wants. That looks crazy. We've never seen something like that before, but we need to be very aware that these things are indeed ending up turning to be more biblical than the technological sites, because definitely a lot of pastors were also recently informed that the church needs to get prepared for what is to be disclosed. And it seems like these demonic beings is exactly what we call as the aliens. So these aliens are nothing but the demons, the fallen angels, and the Nephilims, these weird human and fallen angel mixtured babies that just were born back in those times. And when God basically flooded the earth and destroyed all of these beings, some of these beings did indeed escape. And these are the ones that are around here in the name of aliens. Now, we also have a very old footage which was leaked from Area 51 in the year 1970s, and this is a very old video, by the way. And take a look at this. Apparently, it looks like some of these scientists in the Area 51 were running some sort of an experiment with these extraterrestrial so-called beings, which we know as the demons or Nephilims. This is basically how they look like. They look super weird.
Okay with me sharing, because there's some ramifications.
And apparently they even had some sort of weapons on them, which these guys managed to recover. And if you take a close look, these were weapons which we didn't even have back in those times. These were a bit more advanced weapons, which they already possessed it.
What's freaky is their faces, like a bunch of faces in that video, little faces.
Steven seems to think.
So it makes me wonder.
Interdimensional portals opening and closing.
So it makes me wonder if all of these things, all of these technology that we possess in current generation is all just reverse engineer tech that the government has basically stolen from these creatures. And ever since people found that the so-called alien disclosure turned out to be more biblical, and the government themselves have been requesting pastors and the church leaders to go ahead and inform the church regarding what's coming up and what kind of disclosure is coming up, where are very similar to what's mentioned in the book of Enoch and also in the Bible. So a lot of Christians this year have now started betting on Jesus returning in the poly market. So now, just today, it seems like poly markets, chances for Jesus coming back has now gone up to 4%. So it seems like people are indeed betting and buying in their bets on poly market for Jesus to be returning this year. So after all these things have been happening, some people actually do believe that Jesus could indeed be coming out this year. And it seems like a lot of people are making massive money out of this thing. You know, they're just taking advantage of whatever is available out there. And look at this. People have been posting about this thing all over the social media where they zoomed in and captured whatever that UFO is. And apparently this is basically what it looks like. And the image is from the White House's official release on the UFO extraterrestrial files today. And this image can be found on page 42 of the files. And what do you actually think? Definitely, man, I really want to know, what are your opinions on this one? Do you guys believe that this is the Ezekiel's biblical angel, or do you think that this is something that the Anunnakis have been referring to? What is your take on this? Let me know in the comments down below. Now, the government also shared another document in the UFO disclosure files where they claimed that they had direct contact with these aliens back in 1944. So this is what it says, the files from the UFO file. So this is what the document says from the UFO files date. It is claimed to have been encountered on January 12, 1994 at the Nevada Test and Training Range, the area where nuclear tests were conducted. The humanoid entity says through telepathy, "Do not be afraid. I mean no harm," and possesses telepathic abilities. And it identifies itself as N7, what the document looks like. And this is what the whole document says. Let me just show you guys right here. There you go. So it says the entire summary is right over here. The entity was temporarily detained, medically examined, and later released at approximately 04:30 hours on January 13th. Wow. Wow, it seems like the government actually did held this whole entity inside of Area 51. So they actually had this thing in there, and it was medically tested. Now, what was the encounter details? While on patrol, the unit observed a faint silhouette approximately 70 meters east of their position. The entity emerged from behind a rocky outcrop and appeared unarmed. Initial impression suggested that a human female, but closer observation revealed non-human characteristics. The entity spoke first, stating, "Please do not be afraid. I mean you no harm." The entity identified itself as N7 and stated that she was not from your world. Further conversation was conducted. So apparently these guys don't communicate like us humans, is what they're saying. they communicate in a telepathic way, which means these beings are nothing but spiritual beings. They can basically speak to you through energies. You know, they can operate your mind. They can consume your mind. They can make you think stuff that you're not even thinking your own. So, subject descriptions, designation N7, apparent gender, female, estimated age 20 to 25, Earth age, and what was the height? So, this female alien was 5'4". That was her height. That's a pretty decent height, though. Weight was 49 kilos. Eyes were gray silver. Hair was silver blonde. Okay, that seems more like a Nordic female. So medical examination, no signs of disease or injury. Body temperature slightly below human average. So they have an average temperature of 36 degrees, whereas we humans have somewhere about 84 to 90. That's like our average, I believe. So skeletal structure similar to humans but denser. We also have some more update where all the world news is actually covering this UFO, which was shown in the UFO disclosure program, and they're pointing it all out to these stars, where these are all the stars that are mentioned in the Anunnaki scriptures. And if you look at the Sumerian scriptures, this is basically what it looks like, right? If you compare this with these stars, it looks very similar. There's a lot of these similar designs right here, as we've seen previously. These are all Anunnaki scriptures, by the way. And according to the Bible, if we actually look at the story of this angel, Ezekiel describes that this angel was basically flying up in the air, and it was following the other archangels. So this angel was massive in size, and it was following them anywhere they go. And a very similar inscriptions were also made in the Sumerian text, as well. Now, if you look at these Anunnaki images, you'll actually see that there are different types of these UAPs that's flying around in their inscriptions. And there's also this rice-shaped UFO that's flying around, which is something that was also seen in the latest UFO program, in the latest files, where it seems like a pilot who was flying a military helicopter had recorded this thing using his infrared cameras, and this is basically what was recorded. A very similar kind of a disc-shaped, or you can also call this as some sort of a rice-shaped UFO. And as the chopper gets closer to this rice UFO, it starts emitting some sort of energy. I wonder if that's the EMPs. So that, as the chopper gets closer to the UFO, it's probably trying to disable the chopper or something like that. It definitely seems like it's emitting some sort of energies, and it's maneuvering all over the sky. It doesn't have a particular direction in which it could fly. Looks like it can play around with gravitational forces. And a very similar thing is also here in the Sumerian scriptures. It just seems like we are finally here. We are at the stage of knowing what these Anunnakis are. And I believe that we're officially now entering the end times. I honestly thought that there could be probably 10 years or 20 years from now. I never expected this thing to happen so quick, man, because just 2 years ago, we started getting all of these amazing AIs, and look at where we just landed. It seems like AI has progressed so much, and ever since then, we started getting so much updates, information. There's wars, rumors of wars, and there's prophecies that already came true. And now Project Bluebeam is getting activated, where they're setting up the false deception, the massive deception that the Bible has been warning us about, where there will be this one world ruler who will come up and he'll start claiming that he is God himself and he's the one who created us and whatnot. So apparently all of these things are indeed biblical, and these things are nothing but a warning to us Christians. So I hope you guys did enjoy today's episode. Please make sure to go ahead and share this with your family, friends, so that they can know about what's going on in the world and how it's related to the biblical context. And let me know your opinions down below in the comments. I'm really curious to know what you guys have in mind about the situation. It's a very interesting topic nonetheless. That with that being said, make sure to go ahead, subscribe. It's absolutely free of cost, so that you guys can stay notified when the next episode drops for the Wood Show podcast, which is obviously now I'm trying to keep it every single day. I'm trying to get new videos out as soon as possible. So yeah, make sure to go ahead, subscribe, turn the notifications on, and set it to all. Drop a like on this video if you guys did enjoy. Don't forget to drop a like. It really boosts the algorithm and makes the video reach out to more people. So your support is very much Very much appreciated. Now, with that being said, hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Till the diggity spams, and goodbye.